Chelsea Football Club last night got back to winning ways of a 2-0 win at Stamford Bridge over Blackburn Rovers, and albeit in the Cup, at least we can now head into Monday's massive London derby with Tottenham Hotspur with a bit of momentum. People, welcome back to the Joey Knight podcast. If you are new around here, please do me a massive favour at the end of the video. If you enjoy the content and you want to see more from myself, please hit the subscribe button and also click the bell so that you get a notification every time one of my videos goes live now into my match review. Right, so on screen now you can see the starting lineup that Mauricio Pochettino went with. And before I get into individual player performances and whatnot, I have got a bit of news for you if you didn't already know, and that is that we are not going to see Petrovic this season. If ever we were going to see Petrovic start over Robert Sanchez in goal, I truly believe it would have been this game. And clearly, Mauricio Pochettino is back in Robert Sanchez. I am not saying that I don't think Robert Sanchez is up to the job at all, but being that we brought Petrovic in, obviously he's a young goalkeeper, highly touted of, I would have liked the opportunity to maybe see him in somewhat of a less pressure match. Clearly, Mauricio Pochettino didn't share those same thoughts. He went for Robert Sanchez. I've got nothing massively against it. We knew that Reece James was going to be in the lineup, but the interesting inclusion was the return of Badiashile. Now, Badiashile is a player that in a turbulent season last year really impressed me in a time when obviously a lot of the team weren't performing to a very high standard, and Badiashile rarely put a foot wrong, and he was almost a little bit of a forgotten man because he spent time out injured. He has now come back in, forming that partnership we saw a little bit at Monaco between him and Axel Disasi. Obviously, Cucurella left back. Ugochukwu made his way into the midfield, and Caicedo was given a rest. I think that's a sensible decision with the Spurs game coming up. Enzo Fernandez came back from having a baby. Obviously, he himself didn't actually have the baby. It was his missus that gave birth. Conor Gallagher staying in there. And then we went really strong in this match, didn't we? Because obviously Cole Palmer, Nicholas Jackson and Raheem Sterling. Now, obviously, I was at the game last night, courtesy of Jet Set Hospitality. But for anyone who didn't see the game last night, it was a pretty comfortable performance from Chelsea. Rarely did Blackburn have anything to offer in terms of attacking threat. Chelsea had 9 shots on target. I think we had about another 7 off target. 2 goals, the first of which coming from a corner. Badiashile was there on his return to place a beautiful left-footed shot. Well, I say beautiful. It was beautiful. He's playing for Chelsea. Let's go with beautiful. A beautiful left-footed finish into the bottom corner. And then, obviously, Raheem Sterling scores just after half-time. I think it was around the hour mark. Raheem Sterling does what he does best at the moment, which is sort of on his right foot, takes that placement shot over the goalkeeper. However, Sterling did not create this chance. This chance was created by Cole Palmer, and we will touch on that. But it came directly as a result of the front-footed press that we're seeing at the moment implemented by Pochettino. It's something we were very much calling out for. So, all in all, a very good performance. But let's address the elephant in the room, and that is that Blackburn really are not very good, are they? I mean, they're 12th in the Championship at the moment. I think going into this game, they had 1-4 out of their last 5. They play a bit of football. I saw very, very good Chelsea YouTuber, Yannick, Football Therapy. Shout out his channel. I know a lot of you guys watch him. I saw a little bit of his thoughts after the game, and he was saying about Blackburn coming to play football against us. I actually thought Blackburn pretty much played a low block against us. Maybe I'm a little bit skewed because I had about 10 beers last night, but Blackburn were pinned in their own half for pretty much all the match. They weren't sort of doing the old long ball strategy, but I did think they played very defensive against us, and I thought we were able to break them down well, you know. But tougher tests await, and Blackburn are nowhere near even the level, I would say, of a Luton Town. So, yeah, I did think our intensity was very, very good in the match. It's no secret that Chelsea start matches strong. We always start really strong on the front foot, putting the pressure on our opponents and creating a lot early on. At the minute, the problem is we haven't got someone to put the ball in the back of the net early on, and then when you don't score early on, the nerves start to creep in. There's always that chance that the side that are defending could end up nicking one on the counter-attack, and you could really be chasing the game. So we were a little bit wasteful in front of goal, didn't convert our chances well early on, but obviously from that corner, Badiashile, a player who I know we can't hang our hats on scoring goals because obviously he's up the other end of the pitch, he converted the chance. Now, going on to individual players it was really important for me to see Reece James start the game. Now, I think in times gone by, I've said this time in, time out, and everyone has, we have been guilty of rushing Reece James back from injury. And in this match, I think it was the perfect timing, because it was my opinion that Reece James was sort of ready to play, getting minutes off the bench by like the Fulham match. He served the ban for the Burnley match, and then he came back in against Arsenal late on, and you know, we weren't able to really see too much from him. But Reece James, for anyone who has forgot, is just the ultimate player, in my opinion. He doesn't give away the ball. He retains possession well. He wins back possession well. He looks so sturdy on the ball. Great balance. He just does everything so well. And when I was at the game, I was there with my missus, and she was saying to me about Reece James. She said, I thought he was a defender, because obviously he attacks so well, and it's hard to describe it, but Reece James probably is one of our most important, he definitely is one of our most important attacking threats. He showcased it a little bit last night, went for on goal, nearly scored his chance. On another day that may have gone in, but yeah, Reece James played really well, and the little link up that I saw between James and Cole Palmer is something that I think, given time to work on, is going to be massively important for us going forward. Two players that will be at the club for a very long time and can grow together, look like they're on the same wavelength. I've spoke about at times, a lot of other players in our team don't almost look like they're on Cole Palmer's wavelength, but Reece James definitely is. Let's move on. Sorry about that. To Benoit Badiashile. Now, Benoit Badiashile is such a good player. Like, he's so good, in my opinion. Obviously, first game back from a long-term injury last night, so we can't hang our hopes on him too much, but, you know, it's crazy that we're hearing about signing another centre-back now. For me, we don't sign another centre-back. We just keep hold of Trevor Chalobah. Then when Thiago Silva comes out of the team, obviously he could retire, he could go back to Brazil. We just keep Trevor Chalobah there. Whether he will be happy with a bit part role, that's another question, because he's at that time in his career where he really needs to push on. But I don't want to see us go and spend 40-odd million on another centre-back. Like, we've got such a depth of good centre-backs at our club. I really don't want to see it, and we all know what area of the field needs investing into. But anyway, I'm tailing off here. Benoit Badiashile, composed performance. I thought he was the better one in the centre-back pairing out of him and Axel Disasi. And the one thing I'd love to see, right? I'd love to see Benoit Badiashile played on the right side of the centre-back pairing and see if he is up to it and if he can do it. Or vice versa, Levi Colwill play on the right side and see if he's up to it and can do it. Because what I'm getting at here is I do rate Axel Disasi. I think he's a good player. I think the partnership between him and Badiashile is good, and it's one we've seen before at Monaco. But I do think that our best two centre-backs, if you take Thiago Silva out of the equation, are Badiashile and Levi Colwill. The problem is they're both left-footed. Can you not think of any double left-footed combinations at centre-backs? I can't really think of any. What centre-back pairings were both left-footed? God knows, I'll be scratching my head on that one, but I can't really think of it. But doesn't mean it doesn't work, because quite often we do see two centre-backs that are both right-footed. So why couldn't it work on the other side? I don't know. I'm not Pochettino. I'm not the manager. Left-back, obviously, we saw Cucurella. A little bit underwhelming last night. Not as good a game as he's been having recently, but you can let him off for that. Enzo Fernandez, that's a player I want to touch on. He came out the side. Obviously, his missus had a baby, and congratulations to him. I know he's a big watcher of the channel. And obviously we lost, didn't we? So good to see him back in last night. One thing though, if I'm Enzo Fernandez, right, I'm staying behind at training and I am working on my shooting, because where he's playing on the pitch, he's getting into advanced positions where he's getting into those spaces where he needs to be letting shots off. A lot of the time he does let shots off, but he's nowhere near as good at shooting as, let's say, a Conor Gallagher, for example. Probably other players in this side. Cole Palmer's definitely better from a long shot mumbling my words up there, but Cole Palmer's better from range shooting than Enzo Fernandez. You know, it's weird because it's almost like the pressure gets on and then Enzo either hits the shot over the bar or straight at the goalkeeper. The weird thing with that is Enzo's an elite level passer, and when the pressure is on him in terms of players surrounding him and he's passing the ball, you still see him keep a really cool head. So I don't know why he can't show that composure in front of goal as well. We've seen him score for the national team in Argentina. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. I'm not disappointed with him, but he needs to work on his shooting. Cole Palmer, again, my man of the match. He made the Sterling goal. He puts the pressure straight on the Blackburn defenders as they try to play out from the back and intercepts the ball, passes it on to Sterling. Sterling opens up as Cole Palmer sort of overlaps inside, gives him the option, maybe takes a defender towards him. I can't remember now, as I say, I was pissed. But then Sterling opens up, the old FIFA placement shot. You know that one? There, placement shot. You score a lot of them. Cole Palmer, really, really solid performance, like class. The boy oozes class, ridiculously good player. I scratch my head wondering how we've got him. Like, how have we managed to take this boy off Manchester City? Because I'm putting it out there now, he's better than Phil Foden. You lot are not going to like that. Well, you lot probably will because you're mostly Chelsea fans. But if there's any Man City fans, do any exist? They're all quite young, all probably at school at the minute. But if there are any Man City fans, mate, I don't know what you done letting him go. Like, of course, Pep doesn't ever keep a player, but Pep was desperate to keep sort of Gundogan and a couple of other players that left. Cole Palmer is absolute magic, and I want to see him doing the same against Spurs. But one man I don't want to see doing the same against Spurs is Nicholas Jackson. What have we had now? 10, 12, 13 maybe games to sort of look at Nicholas Jackson now and to sort of try and make our assessment on him and see where he's at the moment. The question is, do we play without a number 9? Because I'll tell you one thing, when Nkunku comes back, he takes Nicholas Jackson's spot straight away. I would need something drastic happen to now change my mind on Nicholas Jackson. I know that you can dig up clips from not even that long ago of me saying that Nicholas Jackson's cooking and Nicholas Jackson's going to be one of the next best sort of Premier League strikers coming through, but I don't know whether he's really low on confidence at the minute or what, but in the last few games he just has not done it for me. He missed another opportunity that I feel like he should have put away last night, and was pretty non-existent last night in my opinion, you know. Some players, when they run with the ball, can look a bit awkward, as Nicholas Jackson does, but it ends up coming off for him. And early on in Jackson's Chelsea career, we were sort of seeing that. And now, as I say, it could be the confidence, but we're just not seeing that. He's not converting chances. He's also not getting into the areas to be able to even miss the chances like he was before. And I was saying that he was the defender's worst nightmare because he was sort of making runs and taking players with him and stuff like that. And over the last few games, we just haven't seen that. And our best performance over the last few weeks obviously came against Arsenal, where he was taken out the side. So it's a hard one. Very, very hard. He didn't start the match against Burnley either, although he did come on and score. I do think that when things are going well for us, Nicholas Jackson could be an interesting player. I also think without the want to tinker with the lineup too much as well, maybe he could do a job out on the wing. We saw that most people weren't watching, but we know he did that at Villarreal. So there's the potential there, and I don't want to give up on Nicholas Jackson. I think he's still our best option at number 9 probably, because Broha doesn't look like he's the exact same player as he was before the injury just yet. Give him time, I'm sure he will. But at the moment, Nicholas Jackson's still probably our best option there, but an option nonetheless that's probably not going to bring us all that many goals. So for me, Nkunku comes in, takes his spot as soon as he's back, and I still think we should go into the market for a striker. What I do want to know is, what striker do you lot want? Because me and Josh are going to get in the studio tomorrow. Is tomorrow Friday? Yeah, tomorrow. We're going to get in the studio tomorrow and we're going to speak about transfers and all that sort of shit. So make sure you let me know in the comments what you think. What do you think of Nicholas Jackson? Should we persevere with him? Do you know what? He's young, man. He's 22. I think he could do it with a loan. And I think a loan to maybe like a Forest, a side like that could do sort of world of wonders for him. Anyway, on to the next round. We make it into the quarterfinals. It is a one-legged tie at Stamford Bridge. We've had a bit of luck with these home draws, haven't we? And I'm very much hoping that Jet Set Hospitality put me up again for this one. So Amir, you know what to do, mate. I'm going to produce some good content for you for the game. Hopefully, I can get to that Newcastle match as well. Newcastle looked really good against Man United. Obviously, Cobham turned up for them. Livramento and Lewis Hall, player that I was convincing my friend Brian, the true Geordie, that he had an absolute snip of signing and that they've done really good business there. He scored a lovely volley. And Newcastle, in my opinion, is probably there or thereabouts with Liverpool, the toughest test we could have got in that next round. The reason I would make Newcastle a slight tougher test than Liverpool is because I think defensively they're less there to be got at than maybe Liverpool are. But being at Stamford Bridge, anything could happen. I'm really, really hopeful going into that match. What I do know is that if we knock Newcastle out in the next round, it is a huge, huge statement. And then I will make us definitely favourites to get to the final of the Cup. Probably end up meeting Liverpool there again. But, you know, we haven't had great luck at Wembley, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. I really want to get there, but let's see how it all goes. Now, does this match mean anything going into Spurs? Well, stylistically, I don't think it does, because I don't think Spurs are going to at all play like Blackburn. I will be dropping my preview on the Spurs match on Sunday morning. Myself and Josh are going to be breaking it down in a whole lot of detail, so make sure you have your eyes peeled for that one. But stylistically, this was nothing like we're going to see. Also, there were one or two minor little moments when Blackburn not cut through us, but found themselves with chances, and you would imagine that if that drops to, a Maddison or a Son or whatever, then we're probably going to concede a goal there. So we need to be defensively a lot better. The big question for me is, does Badiashile keep his place in that back line? I think there's a good chance he does. I'd love to see him paired with Levi Colwill, but I don't know this is the match to try that out in. Listen, I was confident going into the Spurs match before we lost to Brentford, and I'm also still confident after we lost to Brentford and after we beat Blackburn. It doesn't really matter at all, really. In my opinion, styles make fights, and for that reason, I'm pretty set on what I think of this Chelsea team. I think this Chelsea team are a team that are going to do really well against the bigger teams that come to attack them. Against the low blocks, I think we'll really struggle until we can get a number 9 in. And then eventually, if we do get one in, then that whole thing of playing a low block against Chelsea might end up being a thing of the past. But if you've got any wits about you at the minute, play a low block against Chelsea because that's your best chance. However, don't think Postecoglou is going to do that. Because if he does that and it doesn't work, then everyone's going to say, why did you show him that much respect? Why didn't you go and do things the Spurs way and play your football and whatnot? But I'm very excited going into that Spurs match. I am going to be live on the kickoff with Brian, with Josh, with Craig Mitch, the big Spurs fan, and probably one other guest or panel member. I don't know what you call it at this point. Really excited today. I've had a good day, so obviously I was up at Stamford Bridge for the game last night. Jet Set Hospitality put me up. They're a hospitality company. They get tickets to all the matches, and not just football matches, like all the big events and things like that. I see them with tickets to like music concerts and stuff. The Fury fight, I think they were getting tickets for. Really, really good. Very, very reliable. Yeah, Amir, who runs it, very much a man of his word. Never let me down. This is the fourth game he's put me up for. Always really impressed by that service. But I went back up to Stamford Bridge again earlier to interview one of my childhood heroes playing for Chelsea. So I'll leave it at that. But that will be dropping, hopefully a clip of that will be dropping on this page within the next week or so. So absolutely buzzing for that. Really, really good. And that is the perfect time for me to thank you lot, because all these opportunities I'm getting are absolutely ridiculous, like really overwhelming. I wouldn't be getting any of them without you lot supporting me and driving me on. So very, very appreciative. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. If you've made it to this point in the video, you clearly like something I was doing, so why not hit the subscribe button, click the bell, because it's always good to get notified when I go live, when one of my videos goes live, I should say. I will be on the kickoff watching the Spurs game Monday night. Make sure you're tuned in, and until that, I'll see you guys. When will I see you? In my Spurs preview video in a bit.